Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 6 of Direwolf20's Let's Play Satisfactory series. Where today I'm out of power because I ran out of power. But that's okay, because I spent a whole bunch of time getting a whole bunch of biofuel, which should last us for a good while. Kicking back on the power here, we are now capable of producing... What do we got? 280 capacity, and we're using 123. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, I don't think... I do have fuel in here. These guys still have a little bit of fuel. Remember, because of the way... whatchamacallit? Well, because of the way the fuel burns, these guys are about 2/3 the efficiency of these guys, right? So this is 30 megawatts, 15 seconds. This is 20 megawatts, 22.5 seconds. So the same amount of power per fuel, so it doesn't waste fuel to use these guys. They just run slower, basically. So that's just the main takeaway thing to pay attention to. So in today's episode, I definitely want to get into the the tier 2 production line of things. So if we were to go in here and take a look real quick, we know modular frames is definitely part of it. If we, unhide that, we've also got, what else did we have here? Rotors is something we're going to want to get a lot of, and reinforced plates are probably all the things we're going to want to automate today. However, before I wanted to do that, I also wanted to go ahead and unlock Logistics Mark II. Bada bing, bada boom. Goodbye, Rocket.
Milestone reached. Improved versions of conveyor belts and conveyor lifts are now accessible. To encourage additional verticality, conveyor poles now have a stackable variant.
Yeah, that's what's up. So basically what that unlocked for us, if we take a look, in our selected milestones here under Logistics Mark II, we now have access to the Conveyor Belt Mark II, which can do 120 resources per minute. And again, the important note there is that that's how many screws we're producing. So we're going to absolutely want Conveyor Mark IIs. And we also got a Conveyor Lift Mark II for belts, and we got a stackable conveyor pole that'll allow us to stack basically belts a little bit, vertically. So it's pretty cool. We'll be playing with that a little bit. Let's take a look real quick at logistics here. We'll notice that all the new things are over here. Our conveyor belt is right there. You can see it uses these things, the reinforced iron plates. And the other note here is you can hold E on your conveyor belt Mark 1s to toggle between 1 and 2. Pretty cool ability right there. That was added in Update 4, and it's awesome. It is super awesome, and I love it. So, let's come back over here and investigate, right? So all our factory production is going pretty smoothly, right? We've got, we've got iron rods. We've got, I haven't expanded out this area yet, but that's literally what I'm going to do right now. Also today, I finally was able to add the Smart mod. So Smart is a mod. I'm going to link in the description of this video. Oh boy, I hope I remember, because you guys know I'm really bad at remembering that. But there's a website called fixit.app is the website. Fixit, FICSIT.app, fixit.app. And that is the modding community for Satisfactory. They have a nice little mod installer that you can download and install, and that's where all the mods pretty much are. I don't know if there's other locations that mods are, but that's the one that I've always used, and I don't even know if there's any others. So, but Smart is a super cool mod. It's basically the building gadgets of Satisfactory. So check this out. With Smart, you can build multiple platforms at once. So you'll notice now when I bring up my platform list, see how there's an arrow and it's facing that direction? And I can use my mouse wheel to rotate the arrow, right? The direction that the arrow is facing, you can hold shift and use the mouse wheel, boop, to increase it. And in the top right, you'll see that it goes from 1 by 1 to 2 by 1, 3, 4, 5. Pretty cool, right? Now you can also hold left Alt, and it'll change the direction of the arrow to the 90 degree of it. So, if it's going straight, it'll turn right. And you can use the mouse wheel here to extend outwards. And you can go mouse wheel up to go forward. You can go mouse wheel down to go backwards. So if we wanted to do something like this, we totally could. Now, from here, you can press the H key to hold the position and look away. Pretty cool. If you remove the H key, it'll remember this platform size that you've chosen, right? And it'll allow you to look around and change it a little bit. But, generally you'll want to hold H. So what I'm going to do is bump this out a little bit, hit H. And as you're running around here, you can also, hold Alt to adjust it. So it's locked and anchored into that position. You can hold the Alt key to adjust, right? You can hold the Shift key to expand in and out. It's pretty awesome. Other controls are you can hold Alt and Shift to do the third axis, so that would allow us to go up and down. And there's some other cool stuff you can do with it. But let's go ahead and place these right now with a simple left click. Bump, 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 bump. Literally the best. Absolutely the best. Super amazing right there. That is so cool. I can't even tell you. I love it. So now that we've got that taken care of, right, we've got lots more belt space. What I'm going to do is go ahead and get myself my mergers here, and I'm going to get those lined up. And remember, we're probably going to want, I think I want them to go, where do I want the output to be? To the right? Does that sound like a good plan? Yeah, I think that works. And I'm going to bring in belts here. And Smart can do some even cooler things, to be totally honest with you. But we'll get to that. Now, even though I can hit E to change the tier of belt, I like having the Mark II belt on my hotbar. Now I'm going to show you a couple tips with belts, right? So first off, we're probably going to want these belts. How much are you making here? So this guy's making 40 screws per minute, right? So that means that this plus this is going to be 80, right? And that's what our merge is going to produce. So if I were to connect a Mark I belt from here to here, that would be too slow. You can upgrade belts in place by just choosing, like, you know, Conveyor Belt Mark II. And if you mouse over an existing belt, you'll see it kind of highlights in blue. You can left click it, and it'll do an in-place upgrade to convert the belt to the next tier. So that is true for basically all belt types. It's pretty awesome. And you'll note that, remember, this is one belt segment, this is another belt segment, and this is a third belt segment. So depending on how you've built your belts, you might have to do it, you know, a couple times. It's not going to update the entire belt, it'll update the entire belt segment. So like, see, this one, we did it as all one segment, but this one is multiple segments, and you can tell because it has the little conveyor pole things, which I have an extra one that I need to remove. So that's how you can connect things up. So now we are producing the 420 belts per minute, which is pretty awesome. I'm just gonna pop you out to here with a Mark II belt. You can build the Mark II belts directly, obviously. Much cooler. Let's go ahead and figure out today how we're going to produce in the assembler a few things that we're gonna want. So let's see, I might need to craft bench a few things here real quick. Let's see, sort up my inventory. What do I got stuff for? Actually, not a lot. So I'm gonna grab some screws, and you know what? I'm gonna grab some iron rods and plates. Sounds like a good time. Because I did a lot of crafting between episodes to get everything ready for today, so not a big deal. Grab a few stacks of you, and that should be awesome. Okay. So we're going to want some extra rotors. I'm just going to make as many as I can real quick because I'm going to need a bunch of them, and we'll come back when it's done crafting. Alright, so I've got a pair of assemblers here. So I think what I'm going to start with... So this is where things can get a little bit dire-wiry, or dire conveyor-y, if you will. So we've got the rods here. So let's look at our 3 recipes that we want to automate. The first 2 are going to be rotors, because that needs those 2 things, right? So rods and screws, and then plates and screws for the reinforced plates. Then we want to use the reinforced plates with rods to get modular frames, and then finally we want to do reinforced plates with rotors to get smart plating. So lots of combinations of components here that we need to figure out a nice, smart way of doing this. So let's start with probably going to want a splitter here, right? So I haven't quite figured out how this is going to work, but we'll, I guess, decide pretty quickly. So if I were to split you into here, and you into there, is that pretty reasonable? Yeah, it makes me think I could probably move this over a little bit. Remember, hold control. Yeah, do I want you... Probably a little bit closer. Like that, maybe? Yeah, that feels nice and good. Okay, so now if we want to let's make this one rotors, because if you look back here, we've got bars on this side and plates on this side, right? So if we were to make this rotors, this would be the bars. And if we make this plates, this would use the plates. Cool? So that they kind of align with the sides over there. So that means you, Mr. Conveyor Belt Mark IV, are going to want to come right into there. And that'll start splitting those two guys like so. Now, this thing's going to be a little bit tricky to line up nicely, but don't worry, I've got a plan. So that's going to do you. So you need 100 screws per minute, and you need 60 screws per minute. We're making 120. So this is not going to be perfect. We need 160, we're making 120. So this is not going to be perfect, but it's okay. And then remember, can't afford because we need more of those things. All right, so let me snag more screws real quick. I will snag screws from you. Haha. And I'm just going to make a bunch more reinforced plates real quick. So for now, these are the only two things that need screws, remember, right? Because it's rotors and plates need screws. Frames and smart plating don't. So that's going to be all my screw production for now. We will have to improve this a little bit later once we have some of the things that will allow us to improve it. But at this moment, it just means that these machines are going to run a little bit slower than their max efficiency. And that's okay. They don't have to run perfectly, right? They don't have to be perfect. So let's bring a conveyor pole over to here to these guys and get you ready to start receiving items. And that'll allow all that stuff to run. And you can note that the Mark II belts even visually run a little bit faster, which is neat. Cool. Now, let's get rods into this thing, right? So what we're going to need to do is figure out how I'm going to get rods over to here in a nice and neat kind of fashion, because we have to cross this conveyor belt, right? Now, what we could do is something like this. Okay? And we could have another one on the rods. Cool. And then what we could do is literally just run this across here. And that works, right? That's one approach that we can do. And then you, sir, can come straight over to here. Did that actually line up? That's almost perfectly straight. It's not perfect, I don't think. Is it? It's really close. But I think there is a slight angle to it. But it's pretty good. All right, cool. So, hey, that's automated reinforced plates. So that's needing 30 per minute. And refresh my memory, but we're making 40 per minute over here, right? Yeah, so these guys are overproducing, but that's okay. That's also okay. Not a big deal. Nice. All right, so now you guys are making rotors for me, which is awesome. We're making 4 rotors per minute based on an assumed max input. Now, also note that this needs 100 screws per minute, so the smart thing to do right here would be upgrade this guy to a Mark II belt. And this guy needs 60 screws per minute, so he can stay as a Mark III belt. He doesn't need to be Mark II. Okay? Pay attention to those numbers, because it's really, like, you know, we would be wasting our time. We wouldn't be able to... We'd be wasting screws if we didn't upgrade this to a Mark II belt, right? I mean, not really, I guess, because technically he can only handle this. We're only producing the 60, but it'll be better for the future. So trust me, just do it. It's all good. Nice. All right, so it's a little bit sloppy, but not terrible yet. All right, now what we want to do is probably expand this out. So there's going to be a question as to how I want to do this. Because we're leaving a big open space over here, which I'm not loving. Right? There's a whole lot of open terrain that we just haven't made use of just yet. So let me think about, is there a better way to use this space? Alright, let's just do a little bit more math all of a sudden. So this guy's making 5 reinforced plates per minute and 4 rotors per minute. Over here, we're going to need 3 reinforced plates per minute to make modular frames, and we're going to need 2 reinforced plates per minute to make smart plating. So that's the exact number of 5 that we're currently making, which means if we're going to run these guys at full speed, we will not have any net gain of reinforced plates, which is kind of a bummer. You kind of want those for building and crafting and doing things with. So we're probably going to want another reinforced plate production line that will supply us, the player, with reinforced plates for building and conveyor belts and all that stuff. But that said, our current production should be good. It's also going to use 1 rotor per minute and 12 iron rods. Was it 1 rotor per minute? Two rotors per minute. Yeah, 2 per minute rotors. So we could cut down, and actually that's okay because we could cut this in half, and that would only be using 50 screws per minute, and that would be plenty. So frankly, we're doing good on rotors. We should be fine there. Yeah, I think we actually, the numbers add up pretty nicely for what we want to accomplish. Not everything will be running at full speed, obviously, but the numbers do add up pretty nicely. So let's get a power line running over to here. Can I sneak one in between you two? Or do I want to move you over a little bit? Just so I can. Now you'll also notice that what I did is I'm facing these guys the opposite direction. Encroaching on others' clearance. Really? Okay. Well, I'll just sneak you right here then. So you both need reinforced plates, right? So let's get that kind of ready to go here, right? So we'll have a splitter, a conveyor splitter, that comes in from the back, and the output of our reinforced plates will handle that, right? So what I'm going to do is, and again, tier 3 belt, or tier 1 belt should be more than enough. We can run this straight over to here. Right, and then, oh, are you invalid shapey? Boo. I thought that would be pretty good. I might want to, how about I move this over one then? Yeah, if you come up from above, you'll have a better idea of what's going on. So moving this over just a little bit should be the right course of action for me. Yeah, that looks nice. Look at that, reinforced plates, beautiful. Okay, so you are gonna be, let's make you modular frames, because you need the bars, right? Yeah, you're gonna be a mess anyway. Yeah, getting the bars over here is going to be tricky. Though, what I can do, I've got an idea, actually, that will make this much better. Yes, we're going to do modular frames here. Just came up with a better way to handle this, and smart plating can be here. So our rotors will come in here, right? And what I'm going to do is the same deal with the verticality. So I'm going to have this come here, this, there. How does that feel? Pretty good? That seems nice and compact. I like that. And that's going to be your smart plating, which we're going to need a healthy amount of shortly, right? And what I've decided to do, and the reason I'm rotating these guys, right, is so that... Let's see, I'm trying to get you lined up with the output of this guy. So that we're being a little bit more space efficient, right? Does that feel nice? I like that. And that's going to get us our first bit of smart plating. Remember, this is the stuff that we need to upgrade our next tiers with, and you cannot craft these by hand. They must be produced in an assembly machine. Cool. Now you are going to come here. I'd like you to kind of be in line with this one. Is that not possible? How about we make this a little bit closer then? Just going to tighten this up a little bit. There you go. So you're going to come in here. You're going to come in here. You can have the first smart plating that was already produced. You, therefore, need iron rods, which, guess what? I have right here are iron rods. So maybe it would behoove me to move that over a smidge. I like that plan. I like the plan of moving it over a smidge. So just to tidy up and make this look nicer, I'm going to remove you for a sec. You, and you. We're going to take all. We're going to control-click to insert everything, but I'm going to snag 2 more stacks because I like to have them. Okay. And then what I'm going to have is we're going to have the merger Why are you not rotating, merger? Why doesn't why doesn't he want to rotate? Conveyor Splitter is not rotating. That's weird. I wonder if there's something buggy with Smart. I told you Smart was a little bit not ready yet. Alright, I fixed it. If you place the merger, it seems to have fixed whatever weird issue it was having. So let's have the output on the right. Would that make sense? How do you feel about that output? Merger. Output on right. Oh, you're rotated, that's why. Hold on. It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. I think it's fine. Right, so you're gonna come in here. You're gonna come in there, and then you guys will merge and output there to go into that guy. I like that plan. Right? And then sort. And then what we can do is we can run from here. So just as a note, we're currently producing 15 per minute here, 15 per minute here. That's 30 per minute. And this dude needs 12. So more than enough to satisfy his demand. Now, obviously, this is a little bit conveyor belt messy, but it's not, frankly, it's not terrible. How's that feel? Nice and tough? I like that. Yeah, that looks pretty clean. Right? And then right into there to make modular frames, which are going to be needed for some advanced stuff. So we very much want modular frames running, and they will be now at 100%, which is nice. Right? I'll even, throw a few rods in there just to get the ball rolling. Hey, that looks pretty good. It's not bad. It's a little bit slanted, actually, to the right. It's sometimes a little tricky to figure out how to get these belts to be perfect, but we'll do it. There we go. I feel like it's about 2 ticks, two snap points, roughly, right? But now everything should be going well, right? So we're getting our modular frames. And that's all of the Tier 2 resources automated, right? So modular frames are automated now. Smart plating is automated. Rotors, I'm probably going to want to store somewhere. The excess rotors that are being produced. Though I did say I was going to cut these in half, because that would reduce the amount of screws that are being used. Because we're not producing enough screws anyway. What I need to do then, if I want to cut this in half, I think what I need to do is find a slug. And you're saying to yourselves, find a what, Direwolf? And my response to you is a slug. I can even see one right now on my screen. So see up there, there's a little glowy thingy. We're going to make our way up to that. Now here's a cool trick. You ready? Haha! Now you know why I like the smart mod. How great is that? Now there's nothing hacksy about that, right? Nothing at all. You could absolutely have done that without the mod. There's some less than savory individuals. Look, a green power slug. I would like that, please. Thank you.
This semi-slug seems to emit unfamiliar energy readings which could potentially be retrofitted into Fix-It technology. A new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM.
Thank you. Thank you, Ada. You're very helpful. Let's just dismantle all this. So yeah, I could absolutely have built that way without smart. It would have just taken 3 times as long. But let's bring up our MAM. Now, did we leave a MAM up and running, or did we break it down already? Nope, it's still up and running, so that's cool. Hello! Alien organisms? No. Power slugs, yes. So we found a green power slug. We're going to research that thing that we just found out in the world. Dun 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 dun, analysis complete. Green power slugs, research finished. Nice. That's cool. So overclocking production. I'm going to start the research on that. That one's going to take about 5 minutes to run, so we'll come back and check on him in a minute. But what power slugs can do, they are specifically placed throughout the world, and there's 3 tiers of them. Green, which is like that green one we just found. There's also a yellow one, which you can kind of see is on top of that platform. There's a yellow one. And then there's, what's the third color? Is it blue? I don't think it's red. I don't know. The point is there's a third color. I forget what color it is. But power slugs can be used to craft items that will allow you to overclock your machines. So basically they can improve it 50%. And we'll see that in just a minute here. Well, in just 5 minutes here, once that research at the MAM is complete. And we'll be taking care of that in just a minute. So let's come back in a moment and I'll show you what that's all about. All right, so now we've got this guy ready to go. How cool is that? So if we confirm on this, research unlocked. That's cool. Player upgraded. Buildings can now be overclocked with the use of power shards. Awesome. So we've researched the green slugs. We can unlock slug scanning, and then once we find a yellow slug, we'll be able to research it to get the power shard recipe from yellow slugs. And then also there's a third type of slug, like I mentioned. Now, overclocking is a pretty cool thing that we can do with our buildings. So let's take a look at that. If we come over to here, for example, we know that we're not producing enough screws for this guy to run at full speed, right? So notice now down here, this whole section has been unlocked. We can craft power shards that will increase the production rate of our building, right? It will take more resources and it'll output more resources, and it'll take more power, but it'll run faster. So that's all overclocking does. It just speeds the building up, right? Now, I used the one and only power slug that I found so far, so I can't demonstrate that yet. But the other thing that's more important is we've now also adjusted the ability to decrease our production. So we can lower the clock speed, and watch what happens to the resources in the top left once I do this, right? We've now, it'll happen once it's done making the current rotor. So if it's in the middle of crafting when you make this adjustment, and by the way, you can click in here and type. So if you want to type 50% and hit enter, you can do that. But you'll see now that we're going to reduce our iron rod input to 10 per minute, our screw to 50 per minute, and our rotor output to 2 per minute. Which, if we go back over here, we'll note that that's what we need, 2 per minute, to keep smart plating happy, right? So on one hand, that's good, because now we're not, we're not running half the time and not running the other half. The other thing that's nice about this is when we reduce the clock speed, we also reduce the power requirements. So see how we're now doing 4.9 megawatts of power usage compared to the 15 that's being used over here. Right? So big power cost reduction by slowing down your machines. So if you know your machines don't need to run at full speed, definitely lower them, because it'll just save you power in the long run. And that's especially useful at this stage when we're in biomass, because we have to manually create and do things with power. But it'll also be useful later on, especially once we've automated with coal and everything, because just trust me, it's a nice thing to do. So lower the clocking of your machines. Now, I think the next major task for us will be to create the space elevator. So I'm going to add this as a task here on the bottom, and we can see over on the right that we're ready to go. We need some more iron rods, we need some more wires, which shouldn't be too much of a problem, because I think we are at the point where we've almost filled up this thing with wires. So that's a check. We're going to need a lot of concrete, and this is going to be, I think, one of the biggest buildings that exists in the game. I'm pretty sure that this is one of the largest that you're going to run into. So just keep that in mind. This is very, very large. I'm just going to take all the concrete that's here. That should be cool. We're going to grab a few more iron rods, and then we're ready to make the space elevator. And as a reminder, what the space elevator does is it unlocks the next tiers. You generally unlock 2 tiers at a time. So we're going to build the space elevator. We basically use it to hand in items. And once we do that, we're going to unlock tiers 3 and 4. So currently we have tiers 1 and 2 unlocked. We're going to unlock tiers 3 and 4. And then in tiers 3 and 4, there's going to be a bunch of milestones, just like we had in tiers 1 and 2, that'll be useful for us to be able to do cool things. Okay? So be prepared for that. So I'm just going to grab a bunch of these guys so that we're ready to have all the resources we need to build the space elevator. Now what I'm going to do is build the space elevator in this big open field over here, I think. Would probably be a cool place to put it. And it may be true that in the future we're going to want to move it, and that's okay. You can totally move the space elevator later, so you're not stuck to where you build it. But look how big this monster of a building is. Where can I build you that's going to make some semblance of sense? And there's a control panel like right there-ish. I don't know how well you can see it, but trust me, there's a little control panel there. How about over here? This looks like a nice flattish kind of area. Encroaching on another's clearance. It might be that dude walking around there. We might need to give him a few minutes. I'm looking for like a nice place to put this that won't be too terrible. Does this feel nice? I like this. So here we go. Ready? Giant building time. How cool is this? It's huge. It's a huge building. And it's not done yet. Check that out. See that thing? Hello, sir. Greetings, space elevator. Welcome. Whew, that is some serious business right there. Look at that thing. So the space elevator is built. Now, in order to unlock tiers 3 and 4, which is what it's telling you up here, we have to hand in 50 of those smart platings, which, believe it or not, we might be actually close to being able to do because, you know, we automated those things, right? That's gonna be our big task, right? Automating those smart platings. That's what our goal is right now, and we've accomplished that goal. Which means that shortly, once we've gotten them produced, we should be ready to go. So let's see. Do we have 50 yet? We're going to find out. Smart platings. Not you, you're those things. Yes, we do have 50. Nice. That means we can unlock tiers 3 and 4. That's awesome. Look at that giant space. Now, we can move this. Believe it or not, you can actually just deconstruct it and move it. So that may wind up being where it lives for a little while. It may wind up getting moved at some point. It's huge, as you can see. It's a really large building. It does have inputs, so if you want to feed items in through the conveyor belt system, you can absolutely do that on the inputs. There's 3 on that side, and I think there's 3 on the left side as well for automating feeding items in. But I'll be honest with you guys, I've never fed items in. I just manually carry them over and insert them. So the way the space elevator works is really quite simple. It says it needs 50 smart plating. We're going to go ahead and drop those 50 smart plating in, and now we're ready to seal it. And then we're going to send these items up into space. You ready? Sending. Here it goes. Ba-boom. Goodbye, items. They've been delivered to space. Smart plating manufacturing complete. Tiers 3 and 4 about to be unlocked. Ada, do you have anything to say about that, or are you just going to keep quiet? Hello, Ada? Psst. She usually says something, doesn't she? Maybe not. Guess we'll find out. But if we come over to here, we will see that we've now unlocked tiers 3 and 4. Woohoo! So, Ada was suspiciously quiet about that. I'm not sure why she doesn't have anything to say. But tier 3 is where we get into coal power. So this is cool. So researching coal power is going to need cables, which we already have automated, and rotors and reinforced iron plates, which unfortunately, yes, we have them automated, but they're 100% being dedicated to making other things at the moment. But that's okay. We also get access to Vehicular Transport, which is a way of transporting items around the map using vehicles. We get access to steel production. Steel is made by combining iron with coal. So we can get coal power to generate power from coal. We can also scan for coal. Then we can get steel production, and we can get vehicular transport. All very cool things in Tier 3. In Tier 4, we get advanced steel production, which gives us access to a higher tier miner, which will basically increase your extraction, basically double them. So normal resource nodes are 60 per minute. Miner Mark II on those nodes will be 120 per minute, so that's cool. We get access to some new resource crafting, so encased steel beams, stators, motors, automatic wiring, and heavy modular frames. These are all used for crafting and building buildings. We also get some nice improved melee combat, hypertubes, a great way to get around town, and then Logistics Mark III, which gives us belts that can do 270 resources per minute. Super good stuff. Ooh, that also gives us power storage. Nice. That's neat. That's super cool. I like that. That's new. Power storage is brand new, basically. So these are the things that we can unlock in tiers 3 and 4. Now, the next tier of upgrading is going to be pretty significant, I ain't going to lie. We're going to need a lot of resources to unlock tiers 5 and 6, but we also have a lot of things that we need to do in tiers 3 and 4. But the next tier is going to need 500 smart plating. It's going to need 500 versatile framework and 100 automated wiring. So that's going to be a lot of factory building to come in the future. But for now, it's wrapping up point. So Darryl20 signing off. Let's wrap up the episode here. We will come back next time. And what I'm going to do is focus probably on researching coal power. I'd love to get coal power going because then we don't have to manually chop down trees and feed biofuel into our biomass burners. And that will be awesome. That will be super awesome, and I'm very excited for that capability in the future. The other thing is we're going to want rotors and rotors and the plates thingies, these things that I always forget the name of, reinforced iron plates. These two things, we're going to want to start producing them for me to hold on to, rather than just dedicated towards turning into the next tier of materials, right? So yes, it's nice that this is all nice and balanced and everything, but we're gonna need to do better, basically. We're gonna need to do better by way of this. So we're gonna figure that out soon, because I'm gonna need these for crafting. I'm gonna need these for Mark II belts. I'm thinking there's still another iron vein down with those 3 normal veins. That guy right there. He's not doing a whole lot right now, so I might, what I might do is either upgrade these to a tier 2 belt and just connect him into them with a merger, or something else, but we'll figure it out next episode. For now, Darryl20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time and have a little bit more fun automating. Like I said, I want to get some more of those materials ready to go for me, and then we'll start looking at coal power. All right, guys, take it easy.